My name is Stefan Adolf. I'm working for a company called Turbine Kreuzberg. I have a very interesting job title. My job title is Developer Ambassador, which basically means I take care of developers, I take care of code, and I do what I currently do. I prepare talks to tell you about who we are, what we do, and especially of what I like most personally. In our company, lots of people are currently doing Vue.js. Sorry to drop that line, but lots of people are really interested in that one. What I'm also doing is I code a lot of Symfony 2, and this is written in PHP, as you might know. So if you have PHP questions, you can also approach me. But tonight, everything is going to be about Gatsby. I would like to start this one with a brief history of content management systems. So first, I guess there were these CMS applications like Typo3 or Drupal or WordPress, you name it. You can install them on your own server. And a conversation that I came up with in my mind was always say, like, look, Ma, I got my own LAMP server. And Ma said, great. Oh, look, someone broke into it because you forgot to update it. I call it the do-it-yourself disaster. Then there were these website as a service services like Wix or Jimdo, WordPress, WordPress.com is it, I guess, where you can have your own blog. Look, Ma, I got my own blog. Great. Oh, can you just add plugin XYZ and change the reading direction to RTL? No, because you have no access to the source code. Okay, so what I call them is actually let a third party shoot in your foot. Like, well, if they fuck up something, your whole page is just broken. Then there were, and this is quite modern already, static site generators like Jekyll. Everyone knows Jekyll. Everyone loves Jekyll. Ruby. How's it called? Minuteman. I forgot the name of this one actually. And Hugo. And there are one. What is it? It was not Metalsmith. This one is Minute something. Minuteman? Whatever it was called. M. Look, Ma, I did not even install PHP on the server. Great. Can you please add this dynamic calendar widget on every page? Like, have you access to the front end? Can you do dynamic things on the front end? Yes, with jQuery. So, this was too fast. I'm sorry. Oh, no. Oh, the joke was gone. I'll repeat it for you. So I will call it pre-build all the HTML and forget about it. There is no dynamic on the front end. Of course there is, if you really want to have it. So static site generators, this is how they all work. So one example maybe for middlemen was middleman. You can create a layout using ERB. You can create content in JSON. Then you can create your assets with a gulp pipeline, and then you push everything to a repo. What you can then do on your local machine is you can call bundle exec middleman build. It will put everything into the build folder, and then you can upload your whole build folder to CloudFront. Next example. There is Jekyll. Jekyll, you can create templates with Liquid. Never did this one on my own. You can create your content in Markdown. You can create your assets with Ruby SAS if you want. Then you can push it to your repo, and then you call on the command line Jekyll be like build, and it will create everything under underscore site, and then you can upload it if you want to CloudFront or Aerobatic. You know the game? In Hugo, you will call it Hugo. It will put everything to public, and if you want, you can upload to Netlify. This is how static site generators usually work. Meet Gatsby. Usually many speakers now put some very good quotes that they found on the internet. I am no exception. These are 3 quotes I fished out of the Gatsby documentation. So the first one is unopinionated. It says, Gatsby.js is a static progressive web app generator. The second one, I love it, don't build a website with the last decade's tech. And the third one, liberate your sites from legacy CMSs and fly into the future. It's the next big JavaScript framework, you might think. Oh, great, yeah. Please show us the next one. But what you actually get when you use Gatsby, as it says, you get PWA, like Progressive Web Application Support, out of the box. You get offline support out of the box, link prefetching, service workers out of the box. Every React application comes with initial SSR support. So server-side rendering support. You don't have to do anything on your own. It renders everything on the server. This is why it's called a static site generator, but it can do more for you. It's completely, and this is one of the most amazing parts of Gatsby, it's completely source agnostic. It creates a GraphQL API for you that automatically infers all the types that come from your other APIs. I will show this. And from my point of view, Gatsby has an outstanding developer experience. It definitely comes with some opinionations. For example, CSS modules is what they definitely come with. It's just built in. Not everyone's using them. It comes with GraphQL and GraphQL, which is some, well, front-end tool to do GraphQL queries. It comes with Webpack. Even Webpack has some successors, I heard. But Webpack is still in there and hot model reloading. And it comes with a support for modern JavaScript. And if you want, so Flow and TypeScript support. I don't know TypeScript, I must really admit. So I mean, I know it, but I cannot do it. This is why it's not so amazing for me, but I guess most of you will do it. So what can you expect from this talk? I will talk today about the Gatsby fundamentals, about a little bit setup, about the queries in GraphQL, about generating pages. I will talk a little about the asset pipeline or asset generation, and about the client-side usage, which is where it really stands out. I will talk definitely a lot about deployment for static site generation. Yes, I will do. I will talk a little bit about content management and about the scale that Gatsby can deliver. So first of all, the content. Content is transformed to GraphQL. As I just said, Gatsby infers a GraphQL schema from your data automatically, which means you can bring your own API, you can bring your own Markdown files, you can do whatever you want if you know how to handle it. If you install the right plugin, everything will be transformed to GraphQL or to some kind of API which you can query as GraphQL. All the pieces of code are considered a so-called node in Gatsby, and there are, I think, 30 or 40 API calls in Gatsby we could talk about. There's only one or two that you should remember. One is create node API. You can use this one to create your own nodes. So if you have your own little API, your own REST API or something, you can use this API to create GraphQL nodes in Gatsby. And what GraphQL is doing under the hood, and this is where I'm also out because I'm definitely not a core committer or something, Gatsby is storing all the nodes that it finds and that it generates in a Redux store internally, and this Redux store is even written to disk in a cache, which means it's persistent Redux somehow. Then you can use the create page API to create pages out of code or out of nodes. So if you know how to or which pages you want to generate, you can tell Gatsby directly and it will generate them for you using this create page API. The source plugins, and only the ones that are mandatory out of the box, are Markdown, JSON, YAML, file system, MongoDB, and GraphQL. And this is not a typo. You can come with your own GraphQL API and hand it over to Gatsby, and it will integrate this into its GraphQL API. This is brand new. Before I start the demo, I will just like to go through this slide because it's important for many people who do pages assets. There are several ways how Gatsby handles assets, like images, I mean. So just to remember, everything that you put in the static folder will be served as it is. So if you put in the static and you query or you ask for it, do a request on it on the front end later on, it will be just served as it is. You can transform everything using Webpack. So there are transformers that Gatsby is invoking if you add them as a plugin. You can trust this one and it will scale all the images down. It can be base 64 and code everything. There's another thing which is really funny. This leads a little bit too far at this point already, but just you heard it. If you query for the public URL of an asset, it will automatically be published and going through the whole transform pipeline. This is magic. Like, okay, there's quite a bit of magic in Gatsby, but this is really, you will never think of this one. Query for public URL, it will be transformed. And what it's doing, it's usually converting assets on build time. So as soon as you build your Gatsby or the site build, it will transform all the assets. It supports fixed and fluid image sizes, source sets, which are good for retina displays, and you can even put transforms in there. I will show this in a minute in a demo for you. You will be just amazed. Did I say demo? There's the first demo. I will talk about the developer experience, a little bit about GraphQL, about the Create Pages API, about live editing your page, like you can, not editing in the page directly, but you edit your code and it will show what you currently did. I will talk a little about the client-side React usage, CSS modules, and the asset rendering. That first little demo session will take around 10 minutes, I think. So, here we are. If you don't mind, I will take a seat. Everyone can understand me well? Yes? Okay. Anyone is bored already? No? Okay. So, the first thing. This is a fresh Gatsby project. There's nothing that I really added. I just removed something that is a little bit confusing. This is an index page component. You can start Gatsby, if this is already installed, with Gatsby develop. Then you get your development workflow. It will build the site and start a Webpack server, and it will hot reload everything for you. There you go. Hi people, welcome to your new Gatsby site. There's even a link on it. Now, when I change something here, and this is what you might know, of course, because you're all React developers, I guess. If I change something here and I save this one, it's just updated immediately. If I add a page, or add a link to a page, there's a link to the page, and the page will not yet exist, I guess. No, of course not. So first rule in Gatsby, everything that you put under pages will be rendered a page. So now I have page 3 here. Welcome to page number 3. Welcome to the 3rd page. There you go. Now we have 3 pages. That was simple. Now, maybe a word about that little layout component here. The layout is just everything that's around the page, and if you look right, you see this little fragment here. It's React 16. This is also now new. It has been out since September, I guess. No, I mean, sorry, Gatsby 2 has been released in September. Now with React 16 support, so you can have these fragments, which basically means you don't have a root element in your component. Then Gatsby is making heavy usage of this helmet component, which is allowing you to put meta tags and everything from any point of your code anywhere. Also quite nice. And there's some style in it. Oh, let's look at this header component here. There's a nice color, I guess. Of course, CSS transforms are also done in real time. Oh, no, this was wrong. Yeah, works. Okay. So much for the obvious. Let me show you GraphQL. What Gatsby also just have spun up as I started it. It also created an instance of a GraphQL environment, like this one. I don't know, does any one of you know this one? Someone's working with GraphQL, you know it? Some people know GraphQL, very nice. So if you work with GraphQL, you most likely will know this tool. Now, since we only have 3 pages and no real content on our site, there is not much to show, but I can query for stuff on my site. For example, for the metadata. And there is a title. Okay, the title is Gatsby default starter, very nice. This is, as I knew, defined in Gatsby config. Here it is. Let's say React OS with Gatsby. There we go. And if I reload here, it's already reflected in the GraphQL API. Let's query for pages. Gatsby, show me all. What did I type here? Oh, sorry. So there's one convention. If you request a site, it will get you the site object. You can always query for all something, all Markdown, all JSONs, all contentful data or something, and the all site page node will contain edges, which will contain nodes, and in the nodes there are things. For example, paths. And do you remember? I just created this page 3. Amazing. So you can just work with your data. Something else interesting here, maybe path or something, slug, IT, whatever. Okay, that's it. So Gatsby has created a GraphQL API for us just from scratch. Oh, it changed too much. Add. Oh. Gist. Getting creative. I want to roll back something, sorry. Yeah. Because I want to check out another branch for you. Much simpler, you're right. But now I'm done. Okay, let's check out branch number 2. Are you still with me? Very good. Let's create some content. First, we will create nodes out of data that we create here in our file system. And afterwards, I will show you how to create pages. So what I did on this branch, I created a data folder with content, markdown content. There's the Earth, and there's the Mercury, and the Venus, and the rest I saved for later. And in the Gatsby config, in our configuration file, I added a file system plugin. This is this one, or an instance of that file system plugin, which I told, okay, everything that lives in data will be a planet afterwards. So assume to be planets stored in data. And what I also added is this transformer remark plugin, which will automatically create HTML out of Markdown it finds in Markdown nodes. Now, how does Gatsby know that this will contain Markdown? It's doing this by checking the extension. Very simple. So after I put this in here, let's start Gatsby again. By the way, I changed the index page a little bit, and I put a GraphQL query right into the index page. So this is a little bit magic. It is not that magic anymore as it has been before, because what I'm doing here, I'm importing GraphQL from the Gatsby library. And if you export something that is query, and it is, I don't know, this is called in JavaScript. There's a name for this one. Some kind of magic string. All right, thank you. Tagged. Yeah, very good. Okay, so if it's like this one, which I don't understand as PHP developer, this will be executed, and everything that comes out here will go into your properties. Then I will iterate over them and display their title. Let's see if this is looking nice. Yeah, they are all the planets. And you also can find them already here. Because I have to reload this one. Because I created Markdown nodes, there will be all Markdown remark here. And I can ask him, okay, please give me all the nodes, especially maybe all the front matter titles from all the nodes that are Markdown. There we go. Earth, Venus, Mercury. This is what I wrote in here. This one. Okay. Now what we currently don't have are pages. So let's create pages out of these nodes that we currently have. And now it's getting a little bit more complicated, but since I wrote already everything for you, I think we will be fine just in a minute. Number 2. So in this branch, I added a little bit more content here, but nothing, nothing really hard to understand. What I then did, I created a template for our new planet page, which we will find in the templates folder. Here it is. This is also component wrapped in layout. It will add a page title. And look at this query. It's actually looking up Markdown remark nodes that have a path equal to a path variable that I provide. And this is what Gatsby is providing. I will show you what's happening in the back. So there is a file in Gatsby, which is actually a convention in Gatsby. It's called Gatsby Node. Gatsby Node. Gatsby Node will be called upon build time, and you can implement Gatsby's APIs. I'm currently implementing that create pages API, and say, okay, let's do a query everything that I currently have showed you here, right? Like that path query we had a second ago, like this one. No, it's currently not, I did not run Gatsby. If I run it, you will not be surprised. Sorry. So please Gatsby, give me all the paths. Here I get them, Earth, Mercury, and Venus. And if you got them, please create pages on that path using that template. And what you put in here will be available as variable on the template side. Now you ask, okay, Stefan, but why don't you put the path in there? Because it's always put in there. So that planet template will get the path of the current markdown node, and it will get that node again, but with more options. If you don't get everything, I'm currently saying, don't be too much confused. You will have a chance to look this one up later. I will just show you the consequences of all the stuff. Here we are. So the only thing I did on index page is I linked to the path that I found on the front matter, so in my markdown file. And if I click on it, there's a page called Earth and Mercury. And everything has been transformed already. And Mercury, if I change my markdown, innermost, it will change immediately. Great. So now what you can do now is currently you could write your own blog with it. Okay. So if you are still a WordPress user, you could try to use Gatsby as a blog software. So let's add some front-end logic. Absolutely.
On that page with the rendered markdown, or the rendered, yeah, that's called rendered markdown, is there any need for JavaScript to run in the browser for this display?
No, this is completely generated. Where I'm currently, I'm on sim. Yeah, right. I can show you. So I'm currently only in development mode. We will also show you the build mode. In build mode, you will get the whole page source, but I guess, yeah, right. Currently, it looks like you will definitely execute JavaScript. Let's show you. Let me show you how it's looking like if you build it for production. Now it's running on 9,000. Still the same. There's lots of inline CSS, and here you see the content. So there is no JavaScript. This is what real users get on the production side. On development, of course, it's a little bit compiled, so you will execute JavaScript on your browser. No. So let's create some front-end logic. What I did, I added a little bit more data on each markdown file. So what is the order of the planet? Mars is planet number 4, seen from the sun, obviously. Earth is planet number 3, and it has a radius of 6,000 and something kilometers. And I did that because I would like to do something on the front end. This is JavaScript. This is actually React logic. I will show you how it's looking like in Indexjs. So what I added is some very simple ordering component here, which gets to links, which change some state. And then I'm rendering the planets according to the current ordering or the current sorting that I want. So I'm sorting them with not very nice JavaScript code on the client side, okay? But if I load the page, they're already sorted by distance to the sun, actually. And this is what I achieved with some GraphQL query over here. So first load, you get the site. It's ordered by distance to the sun. And then you have front-end logic where you can order it the way you want. Now this looks a little bit boring, I would say. So maybe we should add some styles. And obvious, I also created a branch for that one. Now this looks much nicer. At least you know where the buttons are, and that you can click on them. But I did not do this because I want to show you that I can draw buttons. I would like to show you how I did the CSS for it. And the CSS goes here. Now I have an order component. It's here. Oh, this is really Gatsby. You have two components. One is called the ordering, which is this component, and you have the sorter, which is that component and that component. Okay, very simple. But if you look closely, you will see that I will add a class name called order styles container. And this order styles is a CSS module. So these are scoped CSS rules that only apply inside this module. If I import this, if I import this module here, where is it? It's in my order component. And I refer to the CSS rules like this, they will be applied here. Let's see if I find it again. Here it is. And as always, if I change something here, it will change over there. Now you say, Stefan, but why are you doing this? This is so obvious. What's maybe not so obvious is what the framework is doing for you. As I said, everything is scoped automatically. So the class name that he's applying is this one. Can you read that? The class name is ordering minus module minus minus button minus minus 1x and so on. I don't know. Lots of things. So this CSS style is indeed scoped just for the component where it's used in. So a container style is not cluttering the whole namespace automatically. Let's add some images. This is why I showed you all that asset stuff. Oh, my branches are gone. Okay. So assume, planets are a little bit boring if you don't see the images for them. So what I did, I put some images in there, and now look at this one. This is Earth, and it's a really large image of Earth. Actually, it's 8,000 times 8,000 pixels. It's 17 megabytes. An amazingly large image, like all the people are uploading in your CMS, and killing your server with it when you scale it down. So I put this in source code and check it into Git. What else should I do? I don't have a CMS now. This is more or less, it's really headless. So there are lots of them. And what I now have done is I added more plugins. For example, another source file system plugin. So you can have them, several instances of it. And this instance says, okay, everything that we find under the assets directory, where is it? Here, will be referred to as asset. Then I added this transformer sharp plugin. This is actually the only 2 lines that I now added. And I told Gatsby where to find its assets. What I have done then, I'm handing over. You remember the context where I said, why is it empty? You should have put the path in there. Now I'm also putting the image from the image node content that I put that he finds in the markdown file in there. So in my query on the planet page over here, I now have the image that someone put in the markdown, the image path. So we can display the Earth JPEG on the Earth page. This one is rendering the Earth page. And then we have this little snippet here with a nice little GraphQL fragment, which unfortunately breaks GraphQL. So if you put this in there, it will generate assets for you. Automatically, it will render them. To do that, Gatsby uses its own little IMG component over here. And let me show you how this is looking like if you execute it. Oh, right. Now, sometimes you see the errors because something is wrong with that C++ code in whatever he's doing there. And then you have maybe seen some progress bars, right? He's transforming our Earth image. Are you excited? I hope so. It was 17 megabytes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen the animation? It has been rendered to SVG first. So this is maximum or minimum actually. It's so small if you load that image, it's maybe only 200 bytes or something to draw this SVG representation. And then after the transformed image has been loaded, it is replaced. That's everything that Gatsby has done for you just by adding, I guess, 8 lines of code. Let me show you, maybe just for now, what this looks like. And you know all this stuff. This is a source set with different sources for different resolutions, okay? Everything's in here. Let's go somewhere else. Let's see if Mercury, this image was also very large. Looks amazing, doesn't it? So if you, I mean, this is just optional. You don't have to put this SVG rendering on. You can just remove this little prefix, postfix here. Okay. Reload that page, and now it's just blurred because it's getting a, don't know, 8 by 8 pixels image first or something. Okay, I'll add it back again. SVG for the win. Crazy stuff. Cool. This was demo number 1. Everyone. Thank you for that. I have not taken the time. How far am I already? 20 minutes?
More like 40.
Okay. Are you still with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Let's go ahead with deployment. Your deployment options, as with all static site generators. You build locally, and then you will upload everything that has been rendered on your local machine. You will upload everything to S3, for example, or to your FTP server, you name it. Next option, you can have GitHub pages or GitLab pages. You can use NoSH. Everyone loves NoSH. You can just upload everything that's in your current folder to this server, and you will display whatever you put there. Not even a repo is needed. Something that I really can recommend is upload everything or deploy everything with Netlify. Who of you knows Netlify? So many. I love Netlify. Let's maybe, for the sake of brevity, oh no, let's have this one. How to manage your content actually. You can host all the markdown files as I just did on all your assets in GitHub, like put everything in your GitHub repo. You can use Contentful, GraphCMS, or Prismic as headless CMS. There are plugins for this in Gatsby, coming with Gatsby. You can reuse your old WordPress backend. So you can use WordPress and its REST API to have Gatsby creating nodes, GraphQL nodes on top of it. But what you can also do, and this is what I really find totally amazing, you can install Netlify CMS on your Gatsby site, which is a front-end only backend, and you can use it. Quite nice. It's a backend that lives on the front end, actually. And you can use it to manage the content in your own repository. The good thing about Netlify and Netlify CMS is that Netlify takes care of all the functions, of all the backend, I mean, of all the stuff that is around it, and of the identity. So you can log in with Netlify identity to have your own CMS provided by your front-end page. A word about Netlify for those who have not raised their arms. And I mean, this looks like advertisement, it is, but I'm not, I repeat, not affiliated with them in any way. I just love them. I would call them the Heroku of the Jamstack era. You push the code to your repository and they take care of the rest. If you maybe have experience with Heroku, you always push to their repository. Weird. They integrate with GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket, and they come with, and I just mentioned that, identity, so you can use it for login with your front-end only application. You can use it for forms, so the next contact form you're writing, you don't have to write any backend, you just attach an attribute called forms. Netlify takes care of the rest, I can show you. And they come with Lambda functions without the AWS. So they still use Lambda functions, but there's no setup at all. No API gateway, no weird wiring up of whatever roles there have to be done in AWS. It's just there you have serverless functions. I will try to keep this demo very short. It's definitely much less code involved. And I prepared it here, I guess. So on the left-hand side, no, first the right-hand side, I deployed our little application that you have just seen, this one, on Netlify. I did this today afternoon. And as you might have guessed, and now you see the SVG, it's very nice. Yeah, right. You have the images. And on Venus, I guess, on Venus there is no image yet. So let's stay on Venus first. This is the repo for it. I will share the link later anyway. So let's see. I'm on GitLab. And oh, hello. Let's change Venus. This is what we call CMS of the future. And edit this file, yes. Why is he not remembering that I collapsed it? Let's change, is the nicest planet. It is not. I think ours is the best one, but oh, opinions. So I just changed that one. Let's see what Netlify is doing on deploys. Did I commit? Yes. Reload maybe. Gatsby immediately started building. There it runs. It's doing more or less exactly the same that I was doing when I was writing Gatsby build on my local machine. It's also writing the same weird C++ error messages when something in that JPEG whatever thing is breaking, which we don't have to take care of, I hope. And my site is live. Venus should now be the nicest planet from the sun. Deployed like this. Did I say Netlify CMS? Of course I installed that one. There it is. To remember you, this is only a front-end page, okay? There is no backend on my Gatsby page. And this is how what Netlify CMS is doing out of my data folder. There is a Venus, and it's already the nicest planet. And you have some more or less nice widgets to edit content. Let's make it the second planet again, which it really is. And publish that one. So this runs on my instance. All the stuff runs on my instance. And Netlify itself takes care of the login that I have here, takes care of the pushing, takes care of the GitLab gateway, takes care of the building, takes care of anything. So if you wondered if you have to share your GitLab credentials with all your CMS team, you don't have to. They don't have to have a GitHub or GitLab or whatever account. They can just use your installed Netlify CMS on your page, and it will push everything to your GitLab repo in the back for them. In your name, of course. So if they do something bad, it's your repo that has been broken. Here we go. And Venus should be the second planet again. Here we go. I actually have planned to show you Contentful, but I will skip this one. Who of you knows how to handle Contentful? I will not advertise them, but I can tell you it's one of the best replacements for CMS of all time. It's coming with Gatsby. I mean, there's a Gatsby plugin which just allows you to do everything with Contentful. It offers you a very nice GraphQL API to Contentful. If you might know, or what you might not know, Contentful is currently not offering a GraphQL API because they have a REST API. And there are other people, and since I'm not advertising, I will name them. There's, for example, a company called GraphCMS. GraphCMS only has a GraphQL API, and in the backend they're doing more or less the same as Contentful. And Contentful tries to get the GraphQL API up and running, and Gatsby gives you a GraphQL API for Contentful out of the box. So if you always want to use with to go with Contentful and always miss that GraphQL API, use Gatsby, you have it. Just to show you one site we built with Gatsby and Contentful. This is a conference we had last year and we will repeat next year on May the 29th, save the date. But there were lots of talks. Here are some talks that we heard there from George Coelho and from other people. And all the content on this page, or lots of content of this page, is served by Contentful. So for all the ones that don't know it, I will just show it by logging in. There it is. Where are the talks? So the deal is, if you change something in Contentful here in this content, it can send or it can invoke a webhook on Netlify, which will rebuild your page with that change. Now, since my time is running up, I would like to show you one thing, like, okay, how large can Gatsby scale? Because when I heard that, I figured out, okay, if you have, let's say, 100 pages, and I change one letter, how long does it take until Gatsby gets the change and it's deployed? It will take long, won't it? I don't know. So what I did, where's Visual Studio Code? I created a little side project. Very simple. It's not taking long. You will enjoy it. I hope so. There's the large demo. The large demo is using MongoDB. And my next beloved buzzword, where is it? MongoDB, here it is. I created a database with, let's say, 2,000 products. They are just faked. Like incredible metal gloves. Okay. Where is Visual Studio? It's lost again. Here we go. And I'm querying 2,000 of these products and built one page for every product and an overview page, okay? Gatsby built. First let's see if there's a cache. If there's a cache, it's too fast. Doesn't make sense. There is no cache, I guess. Okay, let's build this one. Gatsby. And build is always giving you the production build, obviously. It's doing 500 queries a second. 2,000 objects queried. Now it's building pages, done. Gatsby serve. Let's see. All the products. We have ball products. We have car products. We have even computer products. You can click on them. There they are. You have gloves, fresh towels. Oh, there they are. So this is banana, of course, but it was really fast. Wait. This was not my question. I mean, this is amazingly fast, but let's just change one product. Oh, no, don't shut off. Let's change the tasty frozen ball, okay? The tasty frozen ball has this nice Mongo. Where's Mongo? ID. Okay, let's find the tasty ball. ID. Like this one. Oh. This is a tasty frozen ball, okay? Give me an attribute. It's not tasty, it is funky. And it's just super nice, okay? Save. It is now the funky frozen ball. Okay. Where is Visual Studio? I mean, this is annoying. Let's rebuild. Do you see some queries? No, there they were. Six queries. Now we are building pages. Let's build pages. And 2,000 pages built, we're done. There was only one change in 2,000 of these files, or of these entries. And there we have the funky frozen ball. Now please give me 1 minute for the last slides I had, because I prepared them. So why is it so fast? You've seen how fast I was changing the pages. Performance isn't optional, it's built in, is what the documentation says. This means critical CSS is inlined. Code and data for your pages are splitted per route. If you hover on a link, it will prefetch the content behind that link. So it's prefetching resources, prefetching data. What it also gives you is offline support. I didn't even switch this one on. V2, Gatsby version number 2, got even faster. It came with React 16. It supports now, you have seen that, 75% faster site builds. And it stripped down the JavaScript size, which is mostly due to the React 16 improvements. And it comes with this GraphQL stitching feature where you can use external GraphQL APIs. Does it scale? I just showed you this one. The wrap-up. Gatsby gets many things very right from my point of view. It's much more than just yet another static site generator. It supports ultra-fast rebuilds and an ultra-modern stack. It's incredibly simple to deploy. So you just create stuff, put it on a server, or nothing new. It consolidates all your data. So if you come with lots of data, you have one GraphQL interface for them. One minus, you have to wrap your head around these weird Node APIs. I mean, if you can do JavaScript, you will find out how to do this. So from my point of view, this is production ready. And maybe one quote of me, first, the one in the top. In 2018, if you'd gather all best practices and tools to build a fast, modern, and maintainable website and put them together, you'd end up building Gatsby. And with this, I would like to close with a quote of Mr. Fitzgerald, who wrote The Great Gatsby, actually. Reserving judgments is a matter of infinite hope, which actually means don't judge a book by its cover. Thank you so much.